Hello and welcome to a little project that I intend on completing, hopefully before everything gets updated in March. Now it is currently December, just about to be the start of the new year, so hopefully I can get this done before March. I have 2 months to do it. I'm trying to get it all knocked out this week, but what you are looking at is a weird amalgamation of my 3 main characters, because what I intend to do is to complete each of the 3 starting tutorial zones before they get visually overhauled or whatever they intend on doing come March, because they do intend on updating the overworld, so I'm going to have to start doing a quick playthrough of everything before everything is permanently different. That way we have, a grasp of what things were beforehand, and then we can take a look at, what it ends up becoming. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. This is a fresh character that I've made. The only thing I've done is logged in and altered his appearance ever so slightly to look more like our Dominion hero, Benalt, who I can scroll up to. This is what he's supposed to look like at the start. I gave him the eye early just because, but this is what he ends up looking like. And there's some visual inconsistencies, like the scar over the right eye. That is something... Unfortunately, you can't have a scar and weird eyes at the same time. Very annoying. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump into it. I have no gear, no nothing. It's just whatever you have at the start. I did not do the tutorial, so let's just go. And this is the exact spot where you start. So you spawn here. Now, right off the bat, I remember things going a little bit differently. Uh-oh, can I not open the door? Oh, goodness. Yeah, right off the bat, things start out a little bit differently.
This one needs to speak to you.
Yeah, because he's calling me Wet One. I remember spawning, unironically, at the start of the game, way back in 2016. I remember spawning down here once you finish the tutorial. Because the implication is you washed up on the beach with everyone else. I guess there's a couple of things I should have done beforehand. I'll cut this out real quick, but I gotta do some settings.
It's alright.
Alright, that should be all of our settings out of the way. Now we've got a couple of things that we can claim, because this is a fresh character, so we've got nothing to our name. I made him a Nightblade just because ease of access, ease of use. It's going to be easier to deal with it this way than if I were to make him anything else. We're going to be doing a 2-handed run just because all 3 of the characters kind of use a 2-handed build in some sense, so narratively it'll fit the most. And I guess that's all we can do. I can do champion points real quick, but a part of me feels like that's cheating. So we're not going to do it. We're going to forego champion points. But anyway, I'm pretty sure back in the base game, you spawn, like, right here. So, it's weird how they put you in a house this time instead. And I'm wondering if I actually did the tutorial, if that would be different. But in all the other cases that I played, because I've been making new characters recently so that I could get photos, effectively, for the new channel banner. But, yeah, it's supposed to spawn you here, and in all the other cases it spawns you in the correct place where it used to, so it's weird that it doesn't in this case. And I have the navigators just here. Yeah, and all these people you can talk to, but they didn't used to exist before. But yeah, originally you would spawn here.
The sun and salt are bad for injuries. If you are wounded, get to the encampment in the shadow of those towers. Indolor will have you up in no time.
What is this place?
Kenarthi's Roost. The Shalar heard it was a beautiful island. This one thinks it would look better without all the wrecked ships. Not even the Dominion's greatest fleet can sail through hurricanes. We are fortunate to be alive.
Who are you?
A cook on the flagship. I used a cleaver to take guts out of animals. But Indolor needs help. And now I use needle and thread to put guts back into soldiers. Hard work. But I thank the two moons for everyone I save.
Who's Indolor?
A skilled healer, and sharper than Shalar's claws. It's good he survived the shipwreck. This place, Eagle's Strand, it is a beautiful place, thank the gods. Otherwise, Indolor would be completely overtaxed.
Tell me about Eagle's Strand.
We know the name because a few island locals live in the towers up the beach. With their help, Commander Kenarthi set up camp for the castaways. The locals bring food, drink, and medical supplies.
And yes, this is a full playthrough, which implies that I will be talking to everyone unless I genuinely miss them. Like, for instance, that dude out there. I don't even... But let's try it. Let's try to talk to him. I've never noticed this dude over here. No, you can't talk to him. That is funny, though, that they just got a dude sitting on a rock out there. So yeah, if you haven't picked it up already, a hurricane blew through the area and crashed what looks to be a dozen ships, or at least 6. Which is pretty wild. Let's see if we can talk to any of these other schmucks. No. They all have names, though, which I find interesting. And I am not doing the voices of the characters for this run, simply because it's, how do I put it? We're just trying to preserve the history of the game. I'm not committing to the plotline of this, but since it is a full run, it will refresh my memory for when the actual playthrough will start up, I guess apparently in March. And I will be doing the other zones as well once I have the time. Since they're all going to be overhauled at some point, supposedly.
You're in a sorry state, friend. Head up the beach and rest.
Where am I?
This is Kenarthi's Roost, off the coast of southern Elsewhere. We were supposed to make a more tactical landing, but that hurricane took us all by surprise. At least we made it here alive. Not all of us were so lucky.
Staying out of trouble?
There's Commander Karen.
At ease, soldier. Fresh from the wreck. You've got a faraway look about you. If you feel unwell, I'd suggest visiting Indolor.
Who are you?
Acting commander of this regiment. My superior didn't survive the hurricane, so it falls to me to secure the Old Mary Dominion's foothold on Kenarthi's Roost. A change in command is never clean, but if everyone does their part, we'll recover quickly enough.
What's the Old Mary Dominion?
You must remember the alliance you're sworn to protect. Perhaps you should lie down until you recover your bearings, soldier.
What is this place?
The locals call this place Eagle's Strand. I gather it was an Imperial fort destroyed long ago. We were lucky to find such a defensible position close to where we washed up. Or did you mean the island? Kenarthi's Roost? The fleet's destination, as you surely recall.
Why was the fleet sailing to Kenarthi's Roost?
It's no secret this island is of strategic importance. From here, the Dominion fleet can reach many coastal targets where we could establish a beachhead. But we'll need to rebuild the fleet first. Hardly an auspicious start to our invasion.
Invasion, eh? Curious.
I'll wait until there's more room amongst the injured. My wound isn't as bad as some of the others I've seen.
So yeah, apparently the whole fleet got wiped off the map.
Can you heal my wounds? Better yet, heal the others. If they stop moaning and groaning, I can finally get some rest.
Nazimar prepared for such an event, but there are more injuries than expected. Sleep is best for them now.
Unless you're in serious pain, I can't help you right now. I have too many patients to attend.
So that's the guy they were all talking about earlier.
My shipmates are gone. Guess they're rebuilding the ship now.
Yeah, some of these characters really don't need to speak. Like, they have nothing to say.
An Altmer ship would have survived the Tempest intact.
Were they not Altmer ships, though? They look like Altmer designs.
My time is precious.
And some of these characters, you'll notice, are wearing outfits. Maybe not this one. But some characters you'll see in the world are wearing outfits that clearly don't belong. Those are assassin targets for the Dark Brotherhood DLC.
Everyone's ready to pass the blame. Even folks who know nothing about ships and sailing.
I must consider the Morningstone's possibilities. First, to determine if the water's indeed infinite. Do you mind? I must focus on my work.
Alright, let's grab this, stone here first.
Commander Kerenth asks for patience. Easy for her to say when my men are still out there. The longer we wait, the fewer will come back.
I'm not used to seeing so much open space. This is my first sea voyage.
What is that storm cloud?
It's that sea elf. Marmor, they call them. I think he's doing it just to annoy us. If they just gag him, he couldn't cast his spells. But they need to question him, I suppose. I just hope he doesn't ruin my maps.
Are you a soldier?
Me? I guess I am now. In Valenwood, I was a cartographer. You know, a map maker. When they recruited me for this mission, I thought all I'd be doing is surveying land. Turns out, there's a lot more responsibilities. Oh well.
Oh well, I've been conscripted in the war. Oops.
Hello. I think you must have the wrong person. I only speak to two kinds of people, and you seem to be neither of them.
Okay.
What's your step, Groundwalker?
So the Sea Elves in this game are an interesting quandary, because they show up very prominently in Kenarthi's Roost and Auridon, and then almost nowhere else, except maybe Tempest Island. But, yeah, their appearance changes significantly in later DLCs, because, I guess, the art direction went in a completely different way, and they start to have, like, gills and scales instead of just being gray pale elves, which I think works fine. I think, this is a totally suitable look for the Sea Elves. I don't think you really need to do much more to them, aside from make their skin ever so slightly shinier, and their eyes pale. That works. But I think what it was is that people were getting too confused. Maybe they thought they were snow elves instead, but I hardly see how you could make that mistake, frankly.
What is it?
That's something that I do suspect will change once the update comes out.
I never want to see another ship. I'll stay on this island for the rest of my life if I have to. They can't force me to go back, can they?
I wonder...
Then I'd plan.
So I know Molag. I know Razumdar was around here at some point, but he seems to be gone now.
Yeah? Need something to wash that salt out of your throat? Am I right?
Is this your bar?
I don't serve everyone for my health, Scab. I've run this bar for years, and I'm not taking any guff from some shoreside soldier. Now that we've got that straight, what can I do for you?
What's an orc doing here?
And why shouldn't I be? I've lived here for more than half my life, and I couldn't give a fig what any noble-born brat has to say about it. Besides, the Longtails like my brews. Not a bad arrangement to do what you love and get paid for it, too.
How did you survive the storm?
One of those comes in every month, seems like. These ruins aren't going anywhere. I just pack away the bar and wait for it to pass. Even if I lost everything, the Khajiit would get me back up and running. They're good folk.
Huh.
It's a wonder anyone survived. Did you see the wreck?
Let's check up here real quick. There is a person hanging out. Can't talk to him, though. Yeah, it is a crazy wreck. It keeps going, too. Like, you can see it on the map. It stretches the entire western coastline. It's insane. It's actually, like, a wonderful bit of storytelling, but unfortunately it doesn't really change. And I'm wondering if that's one of those things that they mentioned previously. Some things might change.
Welcome to Eagle Strand, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit through the merchant's dialogue, sorry.
Many new faces, many new clients, yes? Business will be good for Dohar soon.
I could swear there was, a main quest here a second ago. But, it appears to be gone. Like, it's vanished. Because Razumdar was sitting right here before, but he appears to be gone now. Which is, mildly concerning. I'm not sure what that's about.
Have you no shame?
A little privacy, please.
That is suspicious. Oh, there he is. He's back. What the... Okay, interesting. I think before he would spawn closer to the front so you really couldn't miss him, but the fact that they changed the spawn location to be that, I guess they had to put him right here instead.
Welcome to Kenarthi's Roost, friend. The hurricane must have been very disorienting. So many injured, confused. Keep your voice down. Try not to draw attention.
What are you talking about?
Razumdar is here on a mission of some delicacy. You are just what the Bandari ordered. Between your hands and Raz's good looks, we are certain to see this through.
What kind of help do you need?
First, the question. Where did you come from?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
If you landed 5 paces north, you'd have squashed a rat, slipped on its guts, and cracked your head on a signal drum. The whole island would have known of your arrival. So where did you come from, truly?
Cold Harbor. Molag Bal's realm. He plans to invade Tamriel.
A Daedric prince, you say? Raz has a nose for lies, but you seem clean as an ocean breeze. If anyone else asks you, where will you say you came from?
Cold Harbor. Molag Bal possesses my soul. Tamriel is in great danger.
My, you're a focused one, aren't you? It is good to be focused, but it is also good right now to fit in. Your sudden arrival, it does not fit in, you understand?
Who are you?
Just a friendly Khajiit, privileged to see someone drop from nowhere and land in sea. Shame you cannot do that at will. You could make piles of coin, sell tickets.
And why should I trust you?
You should not. You should trust your instincts. Leave if you wish. No one will stop you. Or come with Raz and do what you can to help us recover. In the process, grow your stature and wealth. It is entirely up to you.
And why are you helping me?
Because you are no soldier, which is useful. You can speak with the locals, assure them we are not invaders or marauders. Now come, let us try to fit in.
Very well.
Another
Commander Karanet, a moment? This recruit survived the shipwreck without injuries. You mentioned something about the shattered shoals, yes?
Will no one come to my aid?
We need your face to become familiar, so your presence won't be questioned. Come, stay by my side.
Glad you're up and about, recruit. I'm in need of a scout to head to Shattered Shoals. Most of our fleet foundered to the west, but we've had few survivors trickle in from that direction.
What did you need exactly?
We captured a sea viper spying on the camp. Those pirates never travel alone. Find out if they're around Shattered Shoals, and if so, what they're doing on this island. Of course, you should assist any shipwreck survivors you find. We must each do our part.
I'll do what I can.
Before you head to Shattered Shoals, speak with Eelsil. He just returned from exploring a nearby temple. That wizard claims to know something about everything, so he may have insight on how these sea vipers operate.
Eelsil is this way. Eelsil, this recruit wishes to speak with you.
Marvelous, isn't it? We'll have to construct a special room for the Morning Stone when we bring it back to the Mages Guild. I'm sorry, did you need something?
Commander Karanith said you returned from a nearby temple?
Yes. The Temple of the Morning Springs is an old Khajiit ruin not far from here. We excavated the Morning Stone from one of the chambers. As you can see, its supply of water appears endless.
Did you encounter any sea vipers?
What do you mean? Pirates? In an ancient Khajiit temple? Preposterous! All we saw were the undead warriors that overran our camp.
Why were you attacked by the undead?
I have no idea. Actually, I have 12 ideas, but they're far less fascinating than the Morning Stone. Probably some sort of ancient curse. It usually is with these things.
So, what can you tell me about the sea vipers?
Arrogant sea elf pirates. To my recollection, they aren't known to raid Kenarthi's Roost. Oh, and they have a thing for snakes. But I'm sure we both have more important matters to attend. If you'd excuse me?
We should speak privately. Before you depart, let's meet by the statues north of camp.
And he just vanishes.
There, you see? You fit in and no one will stop you from walking away. But as this one said, there are opportunities here for people that fall from the sky.
I'm listening.
Eelsil is most impressed with his newest bauble. But the undead are a threat to all of Kenarthi's Roost. If you want to, you could search the Temple of the Morning Springs, determine how to contain the dead there. Then the locals should see we came here as allies, not conquerors.
Alright, anything else?
Karanith told you how the hurricane dashed the fleet into Kenarthi's Roost. Now the sea vipers are picking at the bones of our ships. Strange, yes? You could scout the coast, as the commander said. Prove yourself to the soldiers.
And where are you headed?
Oh, there's far less glamorous work to be done in Mistral, at the northern end of the island. Let's meet up there, after you've done what you decide to do. Until then, bright moons guide your steps. Good luck out there. This one will stay here for a moment. Relax, so that no one says we do not fit in.
Alright, and then the world kind of opens up to us in some sense, so we'll go do this side real quick, since it's honestly the one that kind of points us towards that direction a bit more. And I also just kind of want to take in the world. Like,
joining the
actually
Dominion
look at
isn't
what we
about
got
what
here.
is taken from you, but what we gain from each other.
We're not going to sit there and listen to that, but like just the actual world space itself, because this is what's going to be changing, is the layout and the design of the world. The thing I'm not 100% certain on is whether or not we're actually going to see dialogue and quest changes. That's not something they specified, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did. Like, for instance, will the Harpy designs change? Because the Harpy designs in the base game are really bad. The Harpies that you see in Hrothgar are significantly better in design and detail, but the Harpies in the base game are arguably cartoonish and ridiculous looking. But a part of me kind of likes that they're so goofy looking. But like the Khajiit architecture, like we're most likely going to see some significant changes. We're either going to get either just straight updated textures, as in like they're going to take the old assets and bump them up, make them look better, or we are going to see significant changes, as in they're just going to use the assets that they have from Southern Elsewhere and Northern Elsewhere, which I wouldn't be too satisfied with. I think they should maintain the base game architecture to some extent, but just make it look better. Because it, to be fair, is not good. Like, it's not very detailed. Right, I mean, just looking at it, like, if you were to compare it to something that's later in the game, like, the quality is not great, and it's just a little rough to look at. I don't know what is going on there visually. I think it's because there's some sort of, there's some sort of ritual going on within the temple.
Do not disturb the ritual, cub. Our harvest depends upon it.
Yeah, there's plenty of people to talk to.
Halt! Come no closer!
I think that has to do with a different quest off in the distance. We're not going to engage with her just yet. But I want to see if there's other people we can talk to first.
While this temple has been disturbed by outsiders, the light of Joan and Jode still shines down upon it. That cannot be said of all places on Kenarthi's Roost.
What are you talking about?
Have you heard of the Temple of the Morning Springs? Ancient it is, but not visited by the people of the Roost. Avoid it they do, with superstitious dread. But someone must go there. Its waters are drying up, and the morning springs must flow.
Where is it?
On the eastern side of the island. Go there, and your way will be revealed. Look for the moonstones. They are the key.
So I do find it interesting just how much is actually introduced in these tutorial zones that really, genuinely, is not present throughout the rest of the game. Like what we just witnessed there, that stuff almost never becomes relevant. Right? You'll never see a whole lot of instances of talking to a character and it discovers a location for you on your map. There's a handful of things like that in the base game, almost never in the DLC zones. And even in the base games, it's few and far between. Like, that's one of the few instances I can think of where that happens.
We came here hoping to establish a Dominion naval base, but our forest of sails turned into a graveyard.
What happened?
A hurricane blew up out of nowhere just as we got within sight of Kenarthi's Roost. The seas went wild. We tried to make a safe landfall. Most of our ships foundered. I fear many of my men were lost, but I just don't know.
Where could your men be?
A lot of the survivors came ashore near Eagle's Strand. Commodore Elpion suggested we move to high ground to survey the land. I think there might be more survivors along the western shore. We can see a lot of wrecked hulls from here.
And there's another instance. So that's basically, you come to this central spot, and it kind of outlines where you can go from there. Like, this is very much a tutorial zone, even when it doesn't outright state it to you.
The Temple of the Crescent Moons has such a beautiful view of the island. If only this one came here under better circumstances.
What circumstances do you mean?
Samayado was picked to return to Kenarthi's Roost as part of the Dominion's military in the hopes that she can smooth the way for our forces to set up a more permanent base on the island. But it is a bittersweet homecoming.
Why is returning home bittersweet?
This one had hoped to sail into the main port of Mistral, far north of here, and perhaps take a few days' leave to visit the nearby plantations. Her family still lives on the northern part of the island. Still, one still has hope.
So you were born on Kenarthi's Roost?
Yes, this one was born here, last of her littermates, but first to leave for the mainland. She joined the military when war broke out, and never imagined she'd be sent back home.
We've got a good view of the island here, but our situation's less than ideal.
Weapons.
Yeah, I assume the,
Exotic food.
Yeah, I didn't think so. The merchants don't really have a whole lot to say. So here we kind of naturally stumble upon our first kind of real random quest, but I kind of want to walk the paths. So yeah, we're introduced to enemies before we even encounter them. Like, there's a lot of really good, subtle world building going on in these base game zones that kind of just gets ignored and passed over, really, just because it's not, how do I put it? Just because it doesn't look good, really, it seems to be the case. Just because the base game zones look awful, and they do, for the most part, right? Like, I think Kenarthi's Roost is one of the rougher-looking zones in the game, but at the same time, I hold some sort of reverence for it, just because of the actual world building that's going on in the zone, right? Like, the whole shipwrecked coast is really well put together. Mistral is, for its size, it's a nice little hamlet. I like it. And then, you know, the whole east side of the map, I honestly forget, and the west side is just like a nice little frolicking area, more than anything. But I guess we can pick up our first random encounter quest here, and hopefully it goes by quickly.
Effort. Blasted creatures get into everything. First the hurricane, then rats from the sea. What next? Flying mud crabs? Serendar's mercy, we need more time before the inspection.
Inspection? What inspection?
Dominion inspectors. Headwoman Harani requested their aid to stop smugglers. We're honest farmers with good customers. Our moon sugar is used to spice food, not to brew skooma. When the inspectors learn we can't protect our fields, we're finished.
Protect them from what?
Hairy, squirmy, squeaky little rats. They've infested the plantation since the storm. The inspectors will ask, if we can't protect our fields from those dung-dropping sugar eaters, how can we protect them from skooma brewing thieves?
What can I do to help?
Find out why Cindertail's Sench tigers roll on their backs instead of filling their bellies with rat. Does one expect to keep his job if the inspectors find vermin in our fields?
What will the inspectors do if they find rats?
At best, the inspectors will recommend our moon sugar be confiscated.
What about at worst?
To the east, the plantation burns. Was it due to the inspector's recommendations? Who can say? Either way, Mistral will weep for our passing. With laughing moons gone, skooma will flow through the streets.
Why is that?
When moon sugar runs dry, people turn to smugglers. With smugglers comes skooma. But the inspectors aren't from here. If we tell them, they will not listen.
What is moon sugar?
Ha! You pull this one's tail, yes? A white powder, very sweet, used as spice for food. Some of us believe it gives true insight into Jokajay, where all fates are bound. Others use it to brew skooma.
Skooma? What's skooma?
Poison. Skooma peddlers claim a single drop lets you escape from the world. It's because drinking the stuff makes you want to drink more of it, until you want nothing else.
What will the Falmor do if you fail the inspection?
At best,
Right. Now we're cycling. Tell me about Jacques.
It is not this one's place. The monks at Two Moons Dance might instruct you if you seek them out. At best, to the when
Why is
moon
that?
sugar
If I help you, where should I start?
people turn to find out why Cindertail's Sench tigers roll on their backs instead of filling their bellies with rat. Does one expect to keep his job if the inspectors find vermin in our fields?
Right, so it kind of just repeats over itself. And that's a early development trap that continues throughout the game, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the first plantation here, the Laughing Moons. I think it is the largest. I mean, maybe this one over here is the largest, but I'm pretty sure that's the one that got burned. Otherwise, there's only the 2 plantations. And honestly, of their designs, they look rough. Or I should say, like, poorly put together for a plantation. Like, the water isn't even properly, you know, paced and whatnot. I should say that's really only for this plantation, because you look at it and the plots are just all over the place. Whereas this one actually looks nice and well put together. So, I mean, I guess you can say of that what you will. It doesn't help that the design of this place is so utterly, like... It's hilly. It's not ideal for a plantation. You could make an argument that it's supposed to be layered in design, but we'll see nicer layers in design later on in Auridon. So, you know, maybe that's something they'll change. Who knows? Just having a little bit of narrative consistency, you know? And I guess we'll look around to see if there's even anybody to talk to. We're not going to be breaking into people's houses, mind you. We're just going to talk to the people that we can actually physically see. But most of these people don't really seem to have anything to say. Yeah, almost none of them do.
I'm in the middle.
I'm in the middle of stepping on rats. Don't bother me.
Ferocious killers? Pah! Unclawed blankets, more like. Want to buy a carpet? How about 3? They aren't good for much else. Yes, Afe, even you.
What's wrong with your Sench tigers?
Do not eat the rats, this one says. Do they listen? No! Stupid Sench. Lazy Sench.
Why can't they eat the rats?
They already did. That's the problem. Moon sugar makes you sleepy if you eat too much. Rats eat moon sugar, Sench eat rats, and then lazy Sench. Especially you, Gobani.
Can you get them moving again?
Not with sugar bellies. These useless Sench could only kill a rat if they fell upon it. From a great height.
If the Sench won't move, what will you do about the Thalmor inspectors?
Go inside, lock the doors, wait until they leave? No. Let this one think. Without Sench hunters, what could... Thunderbugs. No, it would never work.
What about Thunderbugs?
Thunderbugs nest nearby. They defend their delicious eggs from anyone who'd make a meal of them, yes? If you grabbed an armload of eggs...
Won't they try to protect their eggs?
Undoubtedly, but they'd hesitate to harm the eggs once you possess them. Smash an egg into each rat nest, and the Thunderbug's electric frenzy kills the rats before the inspectors arrive. You're sturdy, yes? A little shock won't stop you.
Yeah, I can get sturdy with it. Alright, I'll see if it works.
Wonderful! Save some eggs for Cindertail, yes? They are so very tasty.
Oh, he's got a book. I'm not reading the books. I doubt the books will change. Yeah, but the general gist of this area is really, like, unappealing. And I think the major thing that's going to change is, textures and rocks, right? You look at the rocks in these places, and they look unfinished. Right, like the rocks, the trees, even you know, the general terrain layout, it all feels very video gamey in a way that the later zones, for the most part, because some of the zones do look kind of rough in certain areas, and then some of the zones actually look quite good. So it's really hard to say. But it is really going to come down to, like, you know, what are the places going to look like? And I kind of want to do, like, just a quick glance over every area, just so we can actually see what the real changes are gonna be at a certain point in time. So I'm actually going to zoom out the camera as much as I can, so we can really get a grasp of the overall landscape for the inevitable changes. Yeah, that's one part of the quests that I hope they change, is speed that up.
One must arrive early to see the truth of things.
I'd rather be cracking heads.
But we have nothing to hide, Inspector.
Sir, crude but effective in your methods. Perhaps you've heard that before.
Clever luring thunderbugs out of their mounds like that. A scheme worthy of Bandar himself. They're all gone then?
They cleared away all the rats.
Excellent. Our gracious Inspector has been most patient with us. Perhaps witnessing your ingenuity will affect his findings.
Is there anything more I can do?
Joan and Joe dance kindly with you, Walker. Whatever the findings of our esteemed Inspector, we are in your debt.
And that's the whole zone. There is one house here, and I do believe that's a base game house. Or at least when they added housing. I highly doubt that this was actually a house that you could enter previous to housing, because most of the houses, when they added them with housing, existed prior. They were just not anything you could actually enter. There was nothing to them, pretty much. So I suppose we can continue on with our little travel. Actually, before we get over there, we've got this little spot here. There we go, now we've got two-handed as a skill. Boy, we're just leveling up like crazy. I think a lot of that has to do with the New Life Festival still below. Active.
Waxing gibbous.
This guy won't speak. And yeah, all the temples just kind of look the
So
same.
must you follow through.
There's not really a whole lot going on there.
Waning like the Jacagite. You have no patience.
What is this place?
You stand at the Temple of Two Moons Dance. Here, we learn and practice Riddlethar.
Riddlethar?
The way, the path, the road. Riddlethar is all of these, and none. For one, the road is a wall. For another, a wall of the way. We all seek our place in Jacajay. Riddlethar helps us find it.
Jacajay?
The lunar lattice, where all fates are bound. Our place in the universe. For the Khajiit, anyway.
The afterlife.
One should hope not. If we are lucky, we reach Jacajay long before then. Otherwise, what is the point, yes?
What is it then?
It is different for everyone. For some, it is to become king and rule over the little people, yes? We should all be so lucky. For others, it is death. You have some experience with this, no?
What do you know about it?
Only that you have had your sugar stolen. The stories sting that. Inisashujo does not envy you. Still, keep your head about you, and you will find a way.
How?
In the way one follows a map through a maze, one follows Riddlethar through life.
It teaches us to avoid and embrace danger, to fight and to run away, to accept change and to stave it off.
How did you find the way out?
A maze contains many things, not simply a way out. The best mazes hide many sweets behind traps and crevices. Riddlethar is not so much a way out of the maze, as the way with the most sweets along the way.
And what is at the end?
Jakajay. It is what we all hope to achieve.
Okay. So then it just kind of cycles.
Waxing Crescent.
Dog bite me?
Please, leave us to our training.
What a weird name for a Khajiit. Dog bite me. That's like a... That's an Argonian name, not a Khajiit name. Very odd.
What? What is it?
What's a Dunmer doing at a Khajiiti temple?
Inisashu Joe lets me perform small services for the temple. In exchange, I am fed. I can even watch them train on occasion.
How did you come to be here?
My family won't have me. I stowed away on a merchant ship and it brought me here. After months fighting with Aelid for crab meat in Mistral, I heard about the temple.
They let you join?
Of course, I'm quick. I can do half of what you see up there without even trying. Everything I can't, I'm learning.
And what will you do with your training?
Return to Deshan and show my family how wrong they were. They'll have to take me back. If they won't, I'll make them.
Interesting stuff. Like, genuinely, like, strange, bizarre, interesting stuff. But we've got a couple of pathways we can take to move on to our next path. And you can see a mast even made it all the way up here, that far up shore, which is wild. But I am curious to know... I'm just gonna keep repeating that. What's gonna change?
Can any of you hear me? Where are you? You there. Have you seen my squad?
I don't know what you mean.
We were all on a little Alkosh, part of the Dominion fleet sailing for Kenarthi's Roost. Then a hurricane blew up out of nowhere. Sails tore, hulls cracked, and we were thrown into the ocean. I ended up here. I can't find the rest of my squad.
Did they survive the hurricane?
I thought I heard one of them calling out, but the ocean twists up sounds. If they're wounded or pinned down, could you keep an eye out for my soldiers? They answer to Edalus, Onglon, and Nistel. 2 of us can cover more ground.
I'll help you find your squad.
I'm sure my squad made it to shore alive. Dominion Marines constantly defy the sea's attempts to drown us. The hurricanes have another matter. I fear my squad is banged up worse than I am.
Now what can I do about their wounds?
Our ship's hold was packed full of an old Bosmer healing remedy. The labels say torchbug treacle, but Marines call it glow juice. The wreck scattered bottles across the beach must be what brought out the Aelids.
Aelids? What do you mean?
Squat creatures made of teeth, claws, and endless hunger. I've heard their cries up and down the beach since I came to. Their sweet tooth is bigger than their walnut brains. I saw one of the stupid things swallow a whole bottle of glow juice.
Well, if I see anything, I'll bring the torchbug treacle to your squad.
Good luck. Do me a favor. If you find them before I do, tell them the ocean hasn't killed me yet.
Sure. Oh, there's a little thing over here. What's all this?
Please join the festivities. My sister, she dances. Nindir plays music from distant lands. Even Hainab plays a wonderful fool. When he stops drinking anyway, which is never.
What brings you here?
Easy salvage. The storms wrecked half a dozen ships just off the coast, and some of them have beached on the shattered shoals.
Why aren't you out there?
Oh, we would be. But Hainab finds half a keg of Aldmeri brandy, and suddenly it's a new moon's gala. If we don't get out there, someone else will.
Reinforcing stereotypes, I like it. That's Hynab, but we can't talk to him. So I'm noticing a lot of seated loot players. I genuinely don't remember that emote being in the game, and I'm wondering if it's new. Or if I'm, you know, a little stupid and just never noticed. Is that a friendly cat? It is. It's cool how many friendly tigers there are just hanging around. I don't remember nearly as many of them being there. But yeah, now we really get a good look at the wreckage and just what we're dealing with here. There's quite a bit of cool stuff, and if I recall, is there a sky shard over here? No, I must be mistaken. I could swear there was. I must be thinking of a different place. There's a lot of sky shards hidden in ships, if you couldn't already tell. But we've got our treacle, now we've just got to find everyone. Yeah, like, I'm not really sure what they could do with these zones, aside from just make them more detailed, which is nice, but, you know.
Who are you? Were you part of the fleet?
Sergeant Furion sent me to find you.
Alive? Good. That's good. Wave smashed me against the ship. Cracked a few ribs. Not the best feeling.
Sergeant Furion said this torchbug treacle would help.
Tastes like sandals boiled in mint perfume. But if it knits my ribs, I'll drink the whole bottle.
I'll look for the rest of your squad.
Good. I'll find Sergeant Furion. Go. Get them back safe.
I guess I have to find more? Interesting. Yeah, I have to find one for each. I guess that makes sense. I can't remember. I think one of them's dead. No, this one's alive.
I lost a lot of friends in that storm. Give me some good news.
Sergeant Furion sent me to find you.
I saw her swept overboard in that damn storm. Held on to the rigging long as I could, but it tore the skin off my palms. If I can't hold a weapon, I'm useless to my squad. Do you have any bandages? I lost my kit to the sea.
This torchbug treacle might help.
Glow juice? Used to think this stuff was only good for practical jokes on snowy days. Once I can heft Spleen Shanker, I'll push through the beach and find Sergeant Furion. How about you?
I told Furion I'd find the rest of your squad.
Hope they appreciate their good fortune when you find them. I can get inland after I rest. Fight with purpose.
She's got a terrible sword name. Spleen Shanker. It just really names her swords. That's, ugh. I mean, I know you're supposed to, but... eh. There's a dead soldier over there. Getting fed by crabs, yeah. See, nice details here and there, you know? You just gotta look for them. I guess they all lived.
Bless Ifra. I'm glad you came by. Have you seen any other Marines along the beach?
Sergeant Furion sent me to find you.
She's alive. I suppose that's some luck amidst all this wreckage. Can't say the same for my leg. If I don't put too much weight on it, I can manage a good hobble.
Furion said this torchbug treacle would help.
Glow juice? By the gods, it just might. Soon as I can stand on my own, I'll head inland.
I found everyone in your squad.
Lieutenant Gellin dragged me out of the water. He'll want to know Sergeant Furion and the rest of the squad are all right. I think he said something about looking for shelter in a nearby cave, but I was still coughing up sand.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead people lying around even still. I think that's the only intact ship right there. I think that's a Sea Viper vessel, though, from what I remember. Yeah, like, caves like this, like, that could get spruced up, because it just looks... Like, you can tell when the rocks don't... Whoa! What? Yeah. Okay. Like I was saying, you can tell when the rocks don't match that, like, yeah, it looks really bad and out of place. Yeah, Gellin didn't make it. So it's implied that he was killed by that giant snake.
Been thinking, if I were bigger, waves would have smashed me even harder. Punctured lung, cracked skull. Never thought being this short would come in handy.
Lots of snakes out here. Watch your ankles.
Where's the other guy? Oh, there he is.
Gods be with you.
Thanks. Why even give him something
Turns
to
out
say?
my squad were the ones who found me. Ever consider a career as a Dominion Marine? You'd make quite a scout. My squad said you were looking for Lieutenant Gellin. Have you found him?
Found his body in the cave. Someone killed him.
What do you mean?
Looks like he was killed in some kind of ritual.
First, a hurricane blows out of nowhere and destroys our fleet. Then, an able-bodied Dominion Marine is captured and tortured to death? What else was in that cave?
Lots of bones, candles, and snakes. Also, wooden posts.
Some kind of sacrifice? This is too big for my squad to handle. We need reinforcements. Nistel spotted a beached ship nearby. It looks intact, and she spotted Dominion sailors aboard.
What are you gonna do?
We need to combine our forces and find who murdered Lieutenant Gellin. My squad and I need to pull his body out of that damn cave. Would you warn the sailors on that beached ship? They need to know it's not safe to wander around.
I'll warn them.
Wait, take this. I found some glow juice while I was looking for my squad, but they're on the mend. You'll get used to the taste. We'll be along shortly. Watch yourself.
Yeah, like when I think about things that would get updated, I would assume it would be the ships. Or, you know, anything else. Oh, these people are friendly. Oh.
If you need anything from us, talk to Quartermaster Ablan. He's handling repairs and personnel.
Where is he? Oh, he's down here.
You want a slick-arsed sea viper or a cabbage-mouthed castaway? State your business with the crew of the Prowler.
A Dominion Marine was killed in a nearby cave.
The hurricane killed hundreds of Marines. Why does it matter if one of them died in the cave?
He was murdered in some kind of ritual. His squad needs reinforcements.
Oh. Well, the Prowler is like a hen in a wolf den until she's seaworthy again. Maybe your Marines can prove they're more than two-legged cargo and shiny armor. If they pitch in, I'll consider reinforcements. They up for it? Or are they all talk?
I'm sure they'll help where they can.
And I'm sure they'll be as useful as they were in the hurricane. Should they care to prove otherwise, they're welcome to do actual work patching leaks in the Prowler's hold. Maybe they can locate the replacement helmsman's wheel in all this wreckage.
We'll see if they can find the helmsman wheel, and patch the ship.
Oh, and our Sunsighter. It must have fallen overboard when we beached. Our lookout saw those skink-fingered pirates make off with it. You'll have to get the Sunsighter back, any way you can.
I have a few questions.
Sure. Talking's easier than working. Well, ask.
Who are the Sea Vipers?
Barnacles on the arse. They're all sea elves. Shoals. Malmer, they call themselves. Nothing more than pirates, if you ask me. Some say they have a connection to the water itself, but it's a lie. Anyone can learn weather magic like they do.
Oh? And what's a sea-sighter? A sun-sighter?
Captain Jimala uses it to navigate. I could tell you how the sun and stars show the ship's exact position, but none of it matters while it's in the Sea Viper's hands.
Interesting. Tell me about the Prowler.
The pride of the long coast. We'll sail for the Dominion as long as they pay us to raid enemy shipping.
Are you pirates?
Joan and Jode, don't let the captain hear you say that. Pirates steal and pillage for themselves. We're privateers, so we do it for whoever pays us. A crucial distinction.
And who's in charge of the Prowler?
Captain Jimala took over the Prowler a few years ago. She's smart, cunning, and deadly dangerous when provoked. She's also luckier than anyone I served. Every ship in the fleet smashed to flinders on Kenarthi's Roost. Every ship but the Prowler.
That is incredibly lucky.
These aren't Dominion sailors. They're privateers. Just our luck.
Quartermaster Oblon promised reinforcements when the Prowler is repaired.
We'll show that old sea cat what Dominion Marines can do.
Prowler needs a replacement helmsman's wheel.
Edalus is the best scrounger in the regiment. If you want, I can send him out to look for a helmsman's wheel.
Alright, send him.
He's on his way. Anything else we can do?
There's leaks on the Prowler that need patching.
Nustellis is good with a mallet as she is with her sword. I can have her patch the Prowler's leaks.
Have her do it.
She'll have those leaks fixed in no time. What else?
The Sea Viper stole the Prowler's Sunsighter.
Onglorn is our best tracker. He can recover the Sunsighter in no time.
Sure, send him.
I almost pity the Sea Viper who's holding on to the Sunsighter. Onglorn will recover it soon enough. What else needs doing?
There's nothing left.
It's time for that mangy privateer to make good on his promise. Maybe you should do the talking. I'll just rub it in.
That was fast. All right. There's room on the Prowler for your Marine friends, as long as they work for their meals.
You promised reinforcements.
I said I'd consider it. Captain Jimala is the only one who can make that call.
Then what does your captain say?
Something you'll want to hear. You just made the Prowler seaworthy, and Captain Jimala always pays her debts. Go talk to her. She only bites if you give her good reason.
Due to your efforts, the Prowler is free to sail once the tide comes in. Those Marines did their part as well. I have no reinforcements, but I offer something better. I know who's killing the Dominion soldiers, and I know how to stop it.
What do you mean?
Our lookout watched the Sea Vipers drag a Dominion Marine into a cave. Later, he saw your friends remove the Marine's body. If we weren't so short-handed, I'd have ordered his rescue. But 3 of my own crew were missing.
What happened to your crew?
Before we understood the danger, I sent my crew to scavenge among the shoals so we might repair the Prowler. We thought they disappeared, but one just returned, and she tells a harrowing tale.
What happened to her?
The Sea Vipers happened. Now there's a new storm brewing, and I fear they're the cause of it. Mustangui recovers below. Hear what she has to say for yourself.
Hear this until I drop.
Part of me also wonders, because I was looking at a lot of the textures on the armor, if they intend on updating all of the base game armors. They've already kind of done that with all the ancient stuff, but they didn't get all of them. There's no ancient Redguard, there's no ancient Wood Elf. They kind of did ancient Imperial with the House Hexos stuff, but it's, you know, it's not quite the same, if that makes any sense. I don't know, it's weird.
The Sea Vipers are insane! They're trying to create another hurricane!
Another hurricane? What do you mean?
Sir Verkvild and I were scavenging for a replacement helmsman's wheel when the Sea Vipers ambushed us. They brought us to the island with the beached Dominion flagship. They'd done things there. Terrible things.
What have they done?
Those filthy Maormer dragged my mates up and tied them to these serpent-shaped statues. Then they started chanting, and lightning surrounded them. That's when the storm began to form around the island.
The Sea Vipers created the storm.
Yes, I'm sure of it. It was a terrible sight. The Sea Vipers were so caught up in the ritual, I slipped free. I tried to grab Sir, but the lightning held him fast. Then one of the Sea Vipers yanked at him. I saw the Maormer's wrist glow.
Why would his wrist glow?
The Maormer wore lodestones on their wrists. It let them ignore those lightning bombs, but I couldn't find any more, so I jumped off the ship and swam for it. Please, don't let them sacrifice my crewmates.
Might already be too late. K.
Land. Have we reached land?
Yes, you're on land.
But the room still spins. Why did I board this accursed ship?
Why did you?
The Prowler needed a cook, so I volunteered. First time to travel by sea. Thought all the water would be like the marshes back home. But now even the smell of food. Oh, gods.
Ah, yes. Now we've got that thing to deal with. Honestly, it is quite refreshing to do these zones again, just because they are, I don't know, it's nostalgic for me, mostly because it's been so long since I've actually done them. And getting a refresher on them is good for the playthrough, because I know where to start first and which dialogue options to pick, especially with this as a reference. I think, out of all of the zones, though, I want to say the roughest looking ones are probably, because, like, this zone is not that terrible looking. Maybe Mistral's not great, but, like, aside from that, it's not the worst. Arguably the worst zone is Bleak Rock. Bleak Rock is just so meh, you know, like, pathetic, miserable, as it were. What do I have to do? I have to take a lodestone from the Sea Vipers? So I need to find a Sea Viper to kill then, if that's the case. Yeah. Well, this guy's up then. Give me that. I would like to update my outfit, but I haven't gotten to an outfit station yet, and I probably don't really have the gold to do it if I wanted to.
Those Sea Vipers are insane!
Oh, I can't talk to him. Thought maybe I could. Here's our first real boss, technically.
They won't kill me today!
Is it on the east side? Yeah, the east side. I am curious to look at the east side of the island, because we can probably see some of southern Elsewhere from there. And I'm curious to see what that looks like, because that is something that, unfortunately, I can't actually get a reference for what it looked like previously, because I don't have footage for that, but I would just like to see what that looks like, because I haven't yet. I don't know what it looks like. That's why I'm curious. Yeah, there's a lot of zones in the base game that I'd love to see redone. Specifically the Skyrim zones and Auradon. Even though I like Auradon for what it is, I definitely think it could need some sprucing for sure.
Sur and Werkveld returned just after the skies cleared up. They're a bit damp, but otherwise all right. My lookout says I have you to thank.
Yes. I stopped the ritual and freed your crewmen.
Then we'll finish repairs and shove off at high tide. Oh, your marine friends fended off sea vipers while you rescued my crew. They're welcome aboard, as long as they want. Perhaps we'll see you at Mistral. You'll always have a place on the Prowler. We'll take the Marines with us when we sail to Mistral. I hope to see you there.
What can you tell me about Mistral?
Small port. Serves as a trading hub for the moon sugar plantations on Kenarthi's Roost. Home to the tastiest double rum in the southern seas. Lots of Maormer there. They even have an embassy. That means problems for the Dominion.
Why are the Maormer a problem for the Dominion?
Maormer are sea elves. The High Elves kicked them off their island, so they found a new highland. But for some reason, even though nobody's around to remember any of this, they want the first island back. Elven feuds. You know how it goes.
What can you tell me about Mistral?
Small port. Serves as a trading hub for the moon sugar plantations on Kenarthi's Roost. Home to the tastiest double...
Ah, yes. We already heard all that.
Thank the gods, the ship stopped moving. I don't know if I can bear going to sea again.
Well, you're gonna have to in a second.
See you in Mistral. Going to lie down in a bit.
I wonder where the rest of the crew is. I can open up the ship, so I guess they're probably hanging around in here somewhere. Not seeing anybody. Maybe I'm just not looking very hard, but I am also just kind of observing the landscape to see if anything changes. Interesting book to read. Alright, so from here, we can either continue onward and upward, or we can clear this part of the map next, since we do not necessarily need to go in that direction. But I think we're gonna try... I don't have a mount yet, that's right. Well, that's not true, I have a mount. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Might not be the fastest thing in the world, but, you know, it's there. I love how it even tells you how to quickly dismount. I find that very interesting. I wish, Rackaman's letter. Yeah, there's all sorts of little story tidbits planted around this place. Now, not to say that isn't par for the course of this game, you know what I mean. I just find it very interesting that there was a lot more effort put into these zones than I think people actually realize. Especially because I think the introduction zones are really... they're really good. They do a lot to kind of highlight the way... There's just a beggar in here. They do a lot to really highlight the way the world is, but unfortunately I don't think they do a lot to highlight the way the game is. And that's something they've talked about, is that the base game does a really poor job of tutorializing how things actually function. Like, for instance, there's no real good introduction to dungeons or trials in any sense of the word. Not that I necessarily think there needs to be, but there just isn't. Alright, we've got this lady bothering us. We might as well talk to the mage.
Heed my words. You endanger more than your life should you approach.
What are you?
A foolish spirit. My ambition brought me low, but I won't allow it to happen to another. The book before you bears a terrible curse, as do 2 others. You can hear it call to you, yes?
No, I only hear you.
But how? Are you strong enough to resist their call? Could you bring them to the shrine and finish what I did not? Heed my words. The forbidden knowledge within those books isn't for this world. They must be destroyed.
Tell me what I need to do.
The curse upon each tome is designed to feed souls to oblivion. But if you are able to resist their pull, you can collect the tomes and bring them to the shrine for their destruction.
Where is this shrine?
On the shores of Kenarthi's Roost, beyond the town of Mistral. It is lit by an ever-burning flame. Should you collect all the tomes, bring them to the shrine without delay. No matter how strong you believe you are, I fear the tomes are stronger.
Finally, Beza Joe will find this fabled brush. What? What is this? Please, no. This one will stop looking.
I'm hoping that I can complete this stuff before nightfall, because I really don't... I don't like looking at the zones in the dark, because they don't look particularly good.
You are here to trade? Not to cause trouble? This one is sorry he must ask, but it pays to be careful, no?
Why so nervous?
Bandits are attacking merchants on the road. Karpusa got smart and hired mercenaries, but they can only do so much.
Is it always this dangerous?
The storm. It causes chaos, disrupts the regular patrols. This makes the bandits bolder. Soon, things will quiet down. Until then, Karpusa's coin feeds a few mercenaries, yes? Stay up. Not be caught with his belly exposed.
So this thing over here, this isn't even like a temple or anything. This is just a pathway, like an actual proper pathway. So this is another plantation, and you might be wondering, what are they planting? It's a good question, because I genuinely don't see anything. There's one patch of moon sugar in terms of a plantation. That's it. There's nothing here.
You are very lucky to survive this storm. Kenarthi smiles upon us. Or perhaps we are just lucky. Either way, Bezerra is grateful.
Like, this is an area I'd like to see spruced up, because it's so mountainous and quite frankly, a little ridiculous in terms of believability. I don't believe this is a plantation. Interesting, I can't talk to her. Weird. Well, I assume she has nothing in interest to say anyway. And from here we can actually see Mistral off in the distance.
So, you are...
What is going on right now?
So, you are the walker who saved Laughing Moons. Thunderbugs, yes? How novel. To think some consider them pests.
And I do find it interesting that, yes, some NPCs do respond to quests that you have already done, and that's, I believe, one of the first instances of seeing that.
This one will be doing repairs till the big cat catches the little one.
Joan and Jode reference.
Hope for no more bad weather. But this one's shoulder is acting up. There's another storm on its way.
Superstitious. But yeah, this area is not great in terms of its layout, at least as a plantation, I would say. It's not very impressive. But beyond that, I do kind of wish, because these houses, I think, are terrible in design. One, the fact that they're all stilt homes, and that's like every single Khajiit house, period, even though we have come to see in Elsewhere and so on. That's not exactly the case. It's kind of, like, annoying. And I also just hate the way they arch upwards in, like, a really cartoonish angle. The way it's done in later DLCs is handled much, much better. In a way that's more structurally believable.
Too much to do and too little time.
Froth Grubnose. What a name. But that other quest we picked up a second ago, which I totally kind of glossed over, is an interesting quest because it kind of has you go all over the map. And those quests I like, kind of because they give you a reason to explore more than just, you know, morbid curiosity, which is usually how most quests end up starting or beginning in some way. Crosstree Bravo, are you an enemy? Yes, you are. Yeah, we just got a random bandit encampment, which is nice to see. You don't really get too many of those anymore. Continue reading. Take note. Investigate the Crosstree Bandits in Hazek's Hollow, and that's another one that's all the way across the map, which I find very interesting, because they do tend to do that a lot. And this spot over here, oh well, in a second, I suppose. And I'm noticing a lot of lag. I wonder what's going on with that. But this tree is of some importance to the zone, and I kind of hate how miserable it looks. Like, it's so plain and unassuming compared to all the other trees. Like, that should be a unique asset. Because it's literally called, what, Kenarthi's, well, it's something. It's like Kenarthi's wings or something like that. It's part of the reason why the island is called what it's called.
I hear your pain, old one. I'm doing what I can. Windcatcher Plantation depends on the great tree, yet it sickens before my eyes. Our fates are like leaves in its branches.
What's wrong with the great tree?
Do you see that strange miasma? It appeared on the great tree after the hurricane, like a sickness. I've done what I can, but I fear it's not enough.
Is there anything I can do?
There's a cave directly beneath us. I called a spirit there to heal the great tree's roots, but it hasn't returned. Would you see what holds the spirit back, and aid it if you can?
I'll help the spirit if I can.
I can feel the spirit's frustration. It wants to help the great tree, but something prevents it.
How can I help the spirit?
The spirit is old and powerful. It seeks to move from root to root, aiding the great tree as it's able. But it's a healing spirit of singular purpose. It doesn't know how to defend itself.
Is it in danger?
I'm uncertain. If so, the spirit must be protected from harm while it heals the great tree's roots. It knows what it must do.
Why is the great tree so important?
The great tree shields Windcatcher Plantation from the winter winds and keeps our settlement shaded from the heat of the summer. Its story entwines with ours.
But how is it different from any other tree?
When the wind goddess Kenarthi first traveled across the heavens, legends say she grew tired and rested in the branches of a small sapling before resuming her journey. That sapling became the great tree, and gave Windcatcher Plantation its name.
Okay, I was close, but it definitely should be a little bit more prominent if it's supposed to be some, you know, great important tree. Yeah, like this cave in particular looks kind of rough. Because what is this entrance? It's huge and so, like, bizarre and steep.
Been a Quama master for over a decade. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm up to my neck in droppings, and I sure could use a hand getting out.
What's the problem?
Ever try piloting a ship through a hurricane while your entire cargo of Quama eggs hatch and go bug nuts? Been there. Can't recommend it. After we wrecked, they made a Quama line toward this cave. I came after them, but they're a bit distracted.
Distracted? What do you mean by distracted?
They always get surly after hatching, but these Quama are downright unsociable. I tried to stop them from chewing on those huge roots. They objected. Bumped into a fine-looking tree trunk on my way out. Thought I was done for, but it kept walking.
That must be the spirit attempting to heal the roots.
Oh, Quama didn't take to it, whatever it was. I heard them munching on it, same as those roots. The little ones seem scared of it. If you can help the pretty tree trunk do what it needs to do, I bet they'll head back this way.
And the big ones?
If they'd stop eating those giant roots, they might get better. But I don't blame you if you have to put down a few to save the rest. Just be careful. Nothing fiercer than a crazed Quama. Not even my sister-in-law.
Yeah, so this is unfortunately an escort quest, and it's one of the few that actually exist in this game proper. I find it funny because there's not many of these. And I think the reason there's not many is because this just takes forever. And I think the developers understood pretty quickly that nobody actually wants to do this. Especially when the goal of protecting them kind of doesn't even matter. Like, oh, I gotta kill one enemy, oh boy. Like, I understand not wanting to overbear people, especially brand new players in the tutorial zone, but you could definitely do a little bit more than throwing literally one enemy. Like, the rest of these scribs aren't even attacking us. It was just that one. And I think I see maybe one more over there that might actually try, but, like, aside from that, it's kind of a poor showing. So poor, in fact, I'd rather pick this lock. Nice. Yeah, there's literally no other ones will attack us. That's so unfortunate. And that's it, that's the whole quest. Ain't that something? It's just... It is one of the things that I kind of also wish they would revamp. Like, some of these quests are actually okay. That one sucks. It's not good.
Look, the vapor is clearing up. I don't know what you did, but it worked. I'll let you tell Spinner Beneath the good news.
Praise Ifray. The miasma has cleared. Yet I sense this begins a new chapter for the Great Tree. Though the creatures gorge themselves upon its roots, this was a passing instinct. They can be taught to strengthen the Great Tree.
Are you sure the Quama won't harm the Great Tree?
The Quama will soon learn the cave is their nest and treat the spirit as their queen. Together, they'll guard the cave against intruders who seek to harm the Great Tree. A new story can frighten any creature, until it realizes its role within.
Interesting.
I don't know how I feel about these strange bugs, but if Spinner Beneath doesn't mind, who am I to disagree?
A great wind blew, and many ships were dashed against Kenarthi's island. But you strengthened the great tree despite her anger. Windcatcher Plantation thrives once more. May your actions show Kenarthi our goal is righteous. May she bless us with favorable winds.
Thought I was ruined, but that spinner beneath says Windcatcher Plantation will pay for the Quama to live in that cave.
Not really.
Taking coin from crazy folk might even be enough to repair my ship.
Alright, what's left? There's a couple of places that we can browse over here. But I like looking at every corner of the map just to see if there's, like, things we're missing, right? Like, there's those little isles over here that are part of Kenarthi's Roost. Hello, who's that? Is that Make the Liar? Oh, I think it was, and he vanished! Oh, that jerk. Man, that's lame. Yeah, there's a good chunk of this island, right? Like, especially this part over here. It's just kind of unusable and unplayable, and like if you look at it for too long, it just looks really bad. Like that main mountain could definitely use some work, for sure. But then there's some areas, like this spot over here, like look how quaint this little spot is. And it's just one random lone beggar. Nothing to him, he's got nothing on him, it's just a neat little detail is all. But yeah, like there's like subtle marshlands and even like marsh-type trees that you don't really see too often in many other areas. It is just a quaint location. And that was Bolga's hunting camp, that little spot. Like there's nothing else to it. But there's a couple other spots I'd like to hit real quick before we make our way to the east side of the island. But there really is just not a whole lot else going on here on this island. And it should be said that Kenarthi's Roost is the singular tutorial zone for the Dominion. Mostly because the other zones are quite massive. Or, sorry, quite small. Because the other two alliances have dual zones. They have two small tutorial zones that you go to. Whereas Kenarthi's Roost, I guess, was just too big. So they just made it one zone. I've already been here, I see. They just made it one zone and made it easier to deal with. Mostly because there's enough content here that, like, what, it's already almost been damn near 2 hours, and we're only about halfway through the zone, which is pretty good, all things considered. Gagny.
Hail.
Yeah, hail and all that. This is just another little bandit camp. Nothing to really see here, so I'm not going to investigate it too much. And yeah, there's a really good view of Mistral right there, actually. In fact, let me get a little screenshot mode if I can real quick, just to see it. Really? But yeah, it is a beautiful zone sometimes. It really is. You know? You never know. Because, like, this shot makes it look really good. Like, there's parts of Mistral that I really like. That central bridge, the little wooden bridge that leads to it, like, just the fact that it's a bridged city, I really like. I just wish the buildings didn't look so bad, and that there was more going on. Because otherwise, I really think we've got something really good going on here. It's a nice zone. It's just, you know, it's missing a couple of things here and there that I think it definitely needs more of. It needs more sprucing, more than anything. Higher res textures, but aside from that, it is a pretty nice looking zone. It's pleasant. It's a very pleasant zone.